Hello, everyone. So, I have read 49 books this year. Whatever book I finish next will be the 50th book I've read. And I wanted that to be a special book. So, I'm choosing Blink by Malcolm Gladwell. And I'm choosing this for a couple reasons. It was an important read. And actually, a friend of mine in the Department of Homeland Security recommended this book. Great guy. Got to meet him at Michigan State University. Kept in contact with him in some form ever since. Not going to mention him by name because I don't have permission to do that in the video. But yeah, one of the there are a couple things I hate about working as a security guard. Low pay, you can't really advance, and it's hard to get yourself out of the field. It really is. But you do have plenty of time to read depending on the location you work. And so I'm going to try to make this a one-day read, make this also the 50th book I've read this year. I have not actually started work yet, but I'm already about a tenth of the way through the book. That's a good sign. I might be able to pull this off. Thus far, this has been a very, very good book. I do think I'm going to actually be able to get through it in one day. It's 1 p.m. here in the state of Michigan, and I am actually, I think, over 2/3 done with this. So it's quite a thing. So yeah, I think I'm getting there. So it is possible I did actually complete the book in a day. Doesn't mean it was easy. We were kind of busy here, so I had to assist a lot of people. But yeah, I got it done, and now not only am I going to do a synopsis video about the book, but I'm also actually going to do some recommendations of some books that would sort of augment this book. What are my thoughts on Blink? So, Blink is the 50th book I've read this year. I wanted the 50th book I read to be kind of a special or keystone book. It was very good, like I said, recommended to me by a good friend. Um, so, it has many sections on how people came to snap decisions, or what sometimes he calls more scientifically, I guess, thin slicing. You just get a very little information to go on, and yet your knee-jerk reaction is right. What do people have in common who went with that, and how it worked? And why did some people maybe ignore common sense and not listen to their gut, or not go with the snap decision? And Malcolm Gladwell, the author, also gets into, yeah, going with the snap decision is not always a very good idea. So, my two favorite instances where he mentions a very humorous instance involving a statue. I don't want to give too many spoilers on that one, but it was actually pretty funny. Another interesting thing he mentions, and this would kind of be a very sad foreshadowing of things to come in the Middle East, is a war games exercise where a small unit's tactics essentially were used to overcome a much bigger obstacle. Now, although this book is really good, like I said, it's very entertaining. Malcolm Gladwell has been known to do that. There are some books I'm going to recommend that are complements to this and get into individual subjects a lot better than he did. So, first, if you're looking at decisions and process making and successful decision making, there are two books by the Heath brothers. They're business strategists, and they publish books together. And the first one I'm gonna mention is Switch: How to Change Things When Change is Hard. And that book looks at what were businesses and organizations that were failing, and then how were they turned around, and what was the decision making process that led to that. Decisive: How to Make Better Changes in Life and Work. That's another one that looks at how CEOs and people who have success records make decisions. The Science of Evil by Simon Baron Cohen. And yes, he is related to Borat. Okay, that's a dumb joke. He is the cousin of Sacha Baron Cohen. And that gets into what makes people essentially more or less what we would call evil. And it's the intersection of three personality traits: narcissism, psychopathy, and borderline personality disorder. If you are somebody who really liked the war games section, then I'm actually going to recommend a book called Phantom Soldier: The Enemy's Answer to U.S. Firepower by H. John Poole. One of the greatest, and I mean greatest books you will read on how small unit third world tactics or underdeveloped country tactics, whatever the politically correct jargon is for those countries, can be used to overcome obstacles in facing U.S. firepower. Very enlightening. And it's by a guy who held a lot of enlisted ranks. He went what in the Navy is called Mustang, and yes, Marines are a division within the Navy. The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker. So if you're a security professional who read Malcolm Gladwell, there were parts of it that you latched onto more than you latched onto certain other parts of it. That's perfectly understandable because, you know, he gets into, of course, situations involving police and situations involving where people felt they had to defend themselves. He talks about a concept called the moment of recognition. I'm familiar with sort of moment of recognition. I just didn't know the name for it. So either way, all pretty good stuff. But yeah, The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker. If you're a security professional, absolutely read that. And to my friend who recommended this book, I'm just gonna call him, Lima Sierra. I still got the hat, buddy. I still got the hat. That's the number 25. I'm not sure you can see it because depending on what cameras I use, I find some things are reversed, some things are not. But either way, I hope everybody has a good day and definitely check out this book.